everyone, this is week 3, first class, and this is just going to be a mini video, so first class part 1, and this is just going to be cleaning up our Boolean object that we finished up last week, and then the rest of this week will be for NURBS object. So I wanted to separate the videos just to have like finishing the Boolean, and then we'll move on to NURBS. So this should go relatively quickly. It's more just learning which keys you have to be using for the duration of cleaning and knowing, I guess, how to clean, what your approach is when you're cleaning an object. So first, I'm going to go into edit mode of my spoon, and I can't really see my mesh too well right now. So I'm going to turn off my subdivision surface. So that's what's going on right now. It's smoothing it over the mesh. So I can turn it off temporarily, by hitting this cube made up of cubes. And then you can see in edit mode, I can see the mesh. And in object mode, I can still see the subdivision surface. So the reason I need to clean this is because we have this gross, like weird crinkles happening at the cut of the Boolean. And that's happening because with our subdivision surface modifier, it's looking for four-sided faces. And in areas like here, up here, we have a lot of sides to those faces, so we want to simplify them and try to make as much as possible four-sided. And you can easily see if you have like a loop of four-sided things with doing your loop select with your face mode. So if I hit Alt and left click near one of the edges of my face, I can see if it continues a loop. And if it does, it means my faces have a direction, they're four-sided. If it doesn't, so down here, because the four-sided link stops, it doesn't have a continuous direction. So our first strategy to fix this is to connect some of these edges that we have. So I'm going to go into top view, and I basically want to continue the edge loops of my spoon into that Boolean cut. So these aren't lined up with where the cuts are of my spoon, so I can easily clean this part up, and that's with using the knife tool and then our move tool. So first with our knife tool, so over here on the left, you can also hit K as the shortcut, K for knife. But if I click that, I can click on one of the vertices of my spoon and then drag it down, just dragging down my mouse to the one across from it, and you can see it kind of snaps onto some vertices as like suggested cuts. So I'm going to go with that suggestion. Left click when it has done the snap. And then to finalize it, so it's still thinking I want to keep doing some cuts. That's what that purple line with the green like suggested new vertices are. But I just want to finalize it, so I'm just going to hit enter. So I'm going to do that with each row of my spoon edges. So I'm going to connect each of those, so I just had 4 of them. And once they're connected, now I'm going to go in and get rid of the Boolean edges, so the ones that were made into that divot with that Boolean. And the easiest way to do this is to slide these over to line up with the cut I just made. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. I can do a loop select, so I just did Alt left click to select that whole row. If it's not selecting what you intended, you could do your connected select. So if I want to select from this vertex down to this one, I can hold down Control at the beginning and end of my selection, and it's going to fill in the gaps. So once I have that whole row selected, now I'm going to move it over. And to do that, I'm going to hit G twice. So GG. And you can see when you move it, it's sliding along that edge. So if I only hit it once, it starts moving up and down and everywhere. But if I double tap G, I can slide it right up to those other vertices. So I want to do that with each row. So loop select the row, or just do the connected select with Control. And then hit GG, slide it over to one of those connected spoon edges, and then left click. So right now, we're doing something bad. We're making a bunch of overlapping vertices. So you can see I grabbed a vertex to move, but there's still a vertex there. So I have a lot of overlapping geometry at this point, but we'll clean that up in a second with one simple button. So for now, selecting, tapping GG. I can do this with vertices as well, so I can do GG on this vertex, slide it over, grab a row, GG, slide it down. So for now, I'm going to show you guys how you clean it up, and then we'll continue cleaning up the rest of those vertices. So again, we have a bunch of overlapping vertices now, and I want there only to be one at each of those parts of my model. So to get rid of them, first I want to select my whole object. So this is the step I miss the most, is I forget to select everything, because you need to tell Blender where you want it to clean up. We're going to use the cleanup tool. So hit A to select all of the vertices, then go up to Mesh. So the upper left hand of your screen, there's Mesh. Click that, then go to Clean Up. So Cleanup's near the bottom of the Mesh tab, and then near the bottom of the Cleanup tab is Merge by Distance. And when you click this, you're going to see a pop-up happen at the very bottom of your screen. If you did it right, it won't say 0. So you can see mine says removed 37 vertices. If yours says 0, you most likely just forgot to select all of your vertices. So make sure you hit A first, everything's highlighted in orange, before you go into Mesh, Clean Up, then Merge by Distance. And now if I hit one of those spots where I know I had overlapping vertices, you can see I only have that one now. So we want to go in with the rest of these vertices and just grab them, hit GG, and slide them up. And I'm just looking for areas where there's like a large cluster, because that's pretty simple to turn into one. I'm probably going to bring these up. You're not going to be able to make everything a polygon. So you can see this is like where the sphere met up and cut into our spoon, so it's leaving that more like triangular pattern, which will be fine as long as we clean it up a bit by reducing the amount of vertices. So I'm just left clicking, tapping GG, and then sliding it in. Or my zoom was getting throttled. And we want to make sure we don't have any rows of this spoon that we missed. So I missed this row. So I'm going to hit GG, slide it up. This one I missed, but I'm going to connect that a different way. For now, I guess I can slide this in so that those vertices match up. Did I actually slide that all the way? I didn't. Okay. So just slide your mouse like past where you want it to line up, and it should just automatically stop at that point. And again, I want to clean the overlapping geometry, so hit A, go up to Mesh, go down to Cleanup, and then go down to Merge by Distance. And I removed 27 vertices. And now if I go in here with face mode, let's see if we made some loops. So now we have some completed loops around the spoon. We're still not going to have any going up and out, and that's just because of the part where we're having the triangles meet up, but that's okay. And now we still have a few more parts down here that we need to fix. So where that triangle is happening, I have one extra vertex, and I think to clean that up, if I just split like this section of faces in half on either side, I can make an extra vertex here to connect that. So I'm just trying to visualize how I can make some more boxes. So I went in, grabbed my loop cut, and that gives me a new vertex to work with while evenly splitting up the faces that would connect to. I'm going to do that on the bottom as well. You can see there is a point where the loop select stopped up here, and that's because I have another Boolean up here to clean up, which we'll get into right after we finish with this one. And then I'm going to run into issues at the caps of the previous cylinder, so I may as well cut this up and make some nice polygons out of that. So let's first add just like a slice, have it in each direction. And now you can see I have like another extra vertex. I want one up here, but I don't have one. So an easy way, oops, wrong side, there we go. An easy way to get an extra vertex here is to click on the vertex you want to connect to the top, and if I just want to go straight up, but there's nothing to click onto, it's snapping onto that whole edge, but I want it to snap like straight up. I'm going to hit C, so you can see it gave me like a suggested constraint, and it's doing that in like 45-degree increments. So if I hit C, drag that up, and then hit enter, I can make a new vertex at the top across from it. So now we have some more vertices to work with, both at the top of the scoop and the bottom of the scoop. This one I'll just be connecting with knife. So left click at the snap, then hit enter, left click at the snap, and then hit enter. And then same goes for at the bottom, but this one created, when I did those slices, it added a vertex already, so I'm actually just gonna, I think, move that over with my GG. GG, move it over, GG, move it over. So now I have, even though this one's a little skewed, I have a nice four-sided polygon. I could move that inward if there is any weird shading happen that occurs when I go back into object mode. But now we should have some four-sided geometry all at this bottom part of the scoop. So if I go back into my object mode, you can see how that lip of that scoop has improved a lot. And even if you increase the amount of subdivisions you have, you can see how smooth it became. It doesn't have that like gaping wrinkle anymore. If you want a little bit more definition, you can go back in, add a loop cut maybe to give it some more definition. And then you'll probably want to move with your proportional selection some of these vertices down here to continue this in like a circular motion rather than just being cut flat. And it cut flat because we added more cuts there, so it added more definition. So we just need it to continue that loop by moving those outward. But to finish this video, we're going to clean up the top Boolean that we made. So up here you can see it wasn't as obvious the issues that were happening, but we do have a lot of sections that aren't four-sided polygons. So I'm going to go in with my knife tool, make some cuts to connect some vertices from that loop select to continue upward. And I'll probably have to do that on the bottom too, so I'm just connecting to try to make some four-sided faces. I can split my cap again. And then up here, it seems like I'll have to add some more cuts to add another vertex. So I'm going to do the same thing where I'm hitting C to constrain that cut. So make sure you're in like top or bottom view, because that constraint is going to be based off of your camera. So you can see when I hit constraint this way, it's looking like it's laying flat, but if I like had my camera rotated and hit C, you can see it's just going with the like 90 degree of the camera. So make sure you're in a good view. An orthographic view is preferred before you hit C to constrain it to going like straight across. And then we want to do the bottom. Hit C, enter to finalize, hit C, enter to finalize. And why didn't that work? There we go. I think I missed. And then I can just connect these by snapping to them. And now I can go in and do that GG select to layer these edges together. So GG, slide it over, GG, slide it over, and then same thing on this other side, GG, GG, and then if we just go in and delete those extra faces, so select all, hit A, go to mesh, clean up, merge by distance. Now we should have a much nicer looking mesh and a nicer looking subdivision surface. So again, you can go in now, maybe add some more cuts if you need more definition, move any new vertices around that you might have placed, but now at least you have a nice, clean mesh that has direction, where the subdivision surface modifier knows how to address these edges a little bit more. So that's the end of this video, just finalizing those booleans that we made at the end of last week. And then we'll have one more class for the first class of this week, and that's going to be going into NURB. So I'll see you guys in the next video.